Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend. I'm Jason Godbey, and later on the program, we'll have an interview with star Eric Roberts and director Gino McKoy about their latest film, Lumina. And we'll have an update on some upcoming movie releases. But first, we got some No Rest for the Weekend news. All right, so first up, we've got an update on some upcoming film festivals. The Soho International Film Festival will run from September 17th to the 23rd. We were there on the red carpet last year, and we plan on returning this year. That festival is in its 15th year running. We've been covering it since 2018, and it's always a great time. For more updates, follow them on social media at Soho Film Fest or visit their website, sohofilmfest.com. Also in September, running from the 5th to the 15th, our friends to the north, the Toronto International Film Festival, will return for its 49th edition. TIFF boasts 11 days of Canadian and international cinema, special events and talks with some of the biggest names in film, and TIFF's Industry Conference, a place to connect with film professionals and explore the art and business of cinema. It's a huge festival that's become an institution. For more information, visit tiff.net. The New York Film Festival will run from September 27th to October 13th. The festival will return to Lincoln Center for the 62nd edition. We were there last year where we reviewed a number of films, including Maestro, Foe, and Ferrari. You can check out those reviews on our site or on the YouTube channel. And for more information, visit filmalink.org/NYFF2024. Kicking off the month of October is Mill Valley Film Festival. Now, we reviewed a number of films there last year. That festival takes place in Mill Valley, California, and in the surrounding area. The festival will run from October 3rd to the 13th. For more information, visit mvff.com. Also, in October, the 36th edition of NewFest, New York's LGBTQ+ Film Festival, will run from October 10th to the 22nd. We covered the Pride edition of the festival earlier this year, and we're looking forward to going back there this fall. For more information, visit newfest.org. Then later in October, Brooklyn Horror Film Festival returns for its 9th year, running from October 17th to the 24th. Screenings will be held at the Nighthawk Cinemas in Williamsburg and Prospect Park here in Brooklyn. It's a great festival. They get some great horror, sci-fi, and unusual films. They're quickly becoming the premier horror fest here on the East Coast. For more information, their website is brooklynhorrorfest.com. And finally, in Hollywood, California, running from October 23rd to the 27th, is AFI Fest, the American Film Institute's film festival. No Rest for the Weekend's man in LA and the man behind ActuallyPaid.com, Bill Hammond, was there for us last year. He reviewed so many films, including American Fiction, Bike Riders, and The Peasants. You can check out those reviews on our YouTube channel. And for more information on the festival, visit fest.afi.com. All right, now, one film you may have missed this summer is the sci-fi thriller Lumina, which follows a group of friends as they search for their friend who may have been abducted, maybe by aliens. Here's a look at the trailer and Eric McClanahan's interview with director Gino McKoy and Eric Roberts.
Have you ever felt like you wanted to run away?
No.
Sometimes I felt trapped.
Why do you feel like that? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Tatiana, how'd you like LA so far? Just pleased to be here with Alex.
She's just a face. Maybe not. I wish this bedroom was up here. That's weird.
Tatiana! What happened? What happened?
Alien. Tatiana just disappeared right in front of us. Those are her memories.
Gonna go look for her. You know a lot about alien abductions, right?
You're planning on going out there, aren't you?
So in love, you can sense her presence.
So those government experiments could be true?
Yeah, I heard those aliens can get kind of freaky.
I'm not gonna let anything come between us.
Baby, nothing won't.
What the hell did we get ourselves into?
You're looking for something dangerous. If I were you, I'd be very afraid.
Talking to Eric Roberts and Gino McKoy. Thank you so much for talking to me today, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Let's start with you, Gino. I saw as the film credits were rolling, I saw a lot of McCoys on the production team. So it looks like this is a family affair. What was that like bringing your family into this?
Wow, they're crazy enough to join me on this journey in the film world. That's a very crazy world by itself. But I'm very blessed. I thank God for that. Like, my mother, Linda McCoy, has become a astute line producer, very, very good producer. Of course, Hudson McCoy, my father, is also in music and producing. So, yeah, it was great. It was great working with them. It's interesting because when you work as a family, sometimes there's going to be a lot of back and forth, but there's also a lot of trust there too as well.
Now, Eric Roberts, tell me about jumping onto this project and the character of Tom that you play.
Tom is an ex-government employee, but he knows where all the financial bodies are buried. That is the tie-in to the research of aliens and extraterrestrial beings. He's the tie-in, and he's very bright, and he's what my boss describes as a space cowboy, and he's a cool cat who knows a lot of stuff, and he kind of guides us through the understanding that there are these creatures.
Tom has a very memorable scene early on in the film, but then we also see him after the credits. And I know the film left us with quite a few questions. Might we see him again soon if Gino calls you again?
That's up to Gino. It's up to Gino.
Gino, what do you have to say about that?
You never know. He may be at a cookout sometime soon, man. You never know.
Now, when the film ends, there's a coda where you put some statistics on the screen about people's which interaction with extraterrestrials, which kind of gives one the impression that this film is a little more than a thrilling diversion for you. You have a personal stake in it. Can you say something to that?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with people from MUFON who work with the Pentagon and with experiencers, former military, former Navy, former Marines that have told me their story. And, good people, they're not crazy. There's no mental illness and stuff like that. And people believe, and they've experienced these things both on duty and off duty. And, that really inspired me. And that basically brought me closer to the subject because, these are regular people experiencing extraordinary things.
Now, Eric Roberts, I was reading yesterday that you are the most prolific living actor with the most credits to your name. How do you feel about that distinction, and to what do you credit your longevity?
Okay, I feel great about that. And what happened was I made 1 to 4 movies a year, and then we got digital. So everybody with a camera became a studio. So they started calling me directly. And about 1995, 6 or 7, my wife comes to me and goes, "Darling, we're getting 30 to 50 offers every day from all over the world. Do you want to go pursue this?" I said, "Sure." I thought it was going to be a couple of worldwide trips. It'd be fun for a couple of years. That was whatever it was, 1996. It's now 2024. I don't know. It's been so much fun. And I feel so appreciated, and it's hard to say no. I say yes to anything that has a good quality. I will say yes to, be it a student film or be it Dark Knight. It's just fun for me to be working. And I would like to give new definition to the working actor. It's so much fun, pal.
Excellent. Well, it's such an honor to meet you. I'm a huge fan. And again, your work speaks for itself. Your generosity on screen is amazing. Thank you.
You're so kind. Thank you.
Gino McKoy, I see also while watching the credits that your music is all over this film. Tell me about incorporating that.
Yeah, I came to Hollywood for music. I was supposed to sign with Universal Music, and I decided to stay independent. And I wanted to find a way to get my music into, like, to get it out there. So I I turned to my other love as a child, movies. So I started writing movies to put my music in the movies. So yeah, I put all my music in there. Ones that fit, ones that are good, not just to put them in, it doesn't sound good. But so I was also a music supervisor on this and putting it in there, with the composers and everything else. So that was like really important for me to have music that really fit the scenes.
Tell me about when you were creating the script, balancing the personal interactions of the principal characters with the action set pieces of the third act.
I try to have balance in that, like, um, I see some movies where action is thrown into the storyline where it's not needed. I didn't want I never wanted that for my type of movie. I wanted it to be um let the story dictate where the action happens naturally, organically. And if it happens, it happens, right? So that was my premise for the characters and their story arc compared to the actual story arc of the movie. That it would go in sync with that, and that it would not be in situations where, oh, well, yeah, let's just throw action into this moment. No, it was created out of that, situational.
Speaking of action, I think I have time for one more question. I'm going to throw it back to Eric. You get to do some fight scenes in this film. And I thought it was fantastic. I thought the action was really great, really well choreographed. What was your experience like filming that scene?
I had a great stunt double and he did all the hard stuff for me. Yep.
Excellent. That's what we love to hear.
Eric was great.
Well, I like the space cowboy. That was a perfect definition of the character and the look and the swag. Yeah, I can't imagine anyone else but Eric Roberts playing that character.
Oh, thank you, brother. That's so kind.
Oh, man. he played extremely well, and he's Tom.
Heck yeah. Well, I think we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for talking to me, and I really appreciate meeting both of you. And again, it's been a pleasure for me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, brother. Take care.
And now we have an update for you on some upcoming movie releases. These descriptions come to us from IMDb. Coming up in September, Beetlejuice, aka Beetlejuice 2, is coming to theaters on September 6th. Let's call this one a legacy sequel to the 1988 Tim Burton classic. Once again, Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder will reprise their roles as the titular Beetlejuice and Lydia. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life has turned upside down when her teenage daughter, Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, accidentally opens a portal to the afterlife. Now, I saw the trailer for this one. It looks promising, but the original film is a classic. Can this live up to it? On September 20th, we've got the animated feature Transformers 1. This is the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies, but once were friends, bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. Featuring the voices of Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, and Brian Tyree Henry. Now, this feels like the Transformers franchise is going back to their roots, back to the cartoon days of the 80s, when they had the animated series and the first animated Transformers feature. This could be a movie for Transformers fans who are kind of burnt out on the live-action films and want something different. Also on September 20th, Wolves is coming to theaters, starring George Clooney and Brad Pitt. The film follows 2 lone wolf fixers who are assigned to the same job. The trailer for this looked fun. Pitt and Clooney have amazing chemistry. Amy Ryan co-stars, and she's fantastic in everything. I don't know if this is going to do big numbers at the box office, but it certainly looks promising. Later in September, Francis Ford Coppola's new epic Megalopolis, starring Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Aubrey Plaza, Talia Shire, Shia LaBeouf, and Lawrence Fishburne. In this one, an architect tries to rebuild New York City as a utopia following a devastating disaster. Now, much has been said about this one already. Of course, Coppola is a legend. He directed classics like the Godfather trilogy and Apocalypse Now. Megalopolis premiered at Cannes and received some rather interesting reviews. According to the New York Times, the full title was Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis: A Fable, which gives you more of an idea of what he's going for, I think. It currently sits at a 53% on the old tomato meter, which tells me that it's probably pretty polarizing. Megalopolis is set to release on September 27th. Then in October, the sequel to the 2019 smash hit Joker, Joker Folie à Deux, dances its way into theaters on October 4th. Joaquin Phoenix will reprise his role as Arthur Fleck, aka Joker, and Lady Gaga stars as Harley Quinn. I thought the original movie was basically like Martin Scorsese's Joker movie. I thought the Batman stuff was very much window dressing, but Phoenix's performance is great. It also looked great with some brilliant production design and cinematography. I personally probably won't rush out to see this one, but I'm sure a lot of people will. As we move into October, the Halloween horror season, we have Smile 2 coming to theaters on October 18th. This is the sequel to Smile, which did very well. It made over $217 million worldwide on a budget of just $17 million. This one stars Naomi Scott as Sky Riley. According to IMDb, about to embark on a world tour, the global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her past. Now, I did not see Smile. It didn't appeal to me, but it did well. So if this one does well, we'll probably get a dozen of these. Speaking of sequels, on October 25th, Terrifier 3, starring David Howard Thornton and Jason Patric. In this one, Art the Clown is set to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve. What can I say? I'm sure this one is going to be as advertised. If you like Terrifier 1 and 2, you'll probably like this one. Also, on October 25th, Venom: The Last Dance, starring Tom Hardy, Juno Temple, and Chiwetel Ejiofor. According to IMDb, Eddie and Venom are on the run, hunted by both their worlds, and with the net closing in, they are forced into a devastating decision that will bring the curtains down on Venom and Eddie's last dance. This one also stars Rhys Ifans, who played Dr. Kirk Connors / the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man films and Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm betting he's reprising his role here to somehow connect it back to the Spidey universe. Not sure that's going to work, but we'll have to see. On November 15th, Red 1, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Evans, and Lucy Liu. According to IMDb, after Santa Claus, codenamed Red 1, is kidnapped, the North Pole's head of security must team up with the world's most infamous bounty hunter in a globe-trotting, action-packed mission to save Christmas. This movie kind of feels like the movie Red Notice, but for Christmas. Does anybody remember Red Notice? All right, also on November 15th here, it's directed by Robert Zemeckis and stars Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. Now, these are the director and star team from Forrest Gump. Here is an original film about multiple families and a special place they inhabit. The story travels through generations, capturing the human experience in its purest form. Don't know much about this yet, but those are all great people. On November 22nd, the hit musical Wicked flies into theaters with Wicked Part 1, starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande as Elphaba and Glinda. After 2 decades as one of the most beloved and enduring musicals on stage, Wicked makes its long-awaited journey to the big screen as a spectacular, generation-defining, 2-part cinematic event. I saw Wicked on Broadway. It is a big, great spectacle. The first act is basically an origin story for Elphaba, aka the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm thinking that's going to be part 1, and then act 2 in the play is the retelling of The Wizard of Oz told from the witch's point of view. And I'm thinking that'll probably be the part 2 movie. It's a lot to pull off in a movie, but I'm sure this will probably crack $1 billion at the box office because the fan base is huge. Also on November 22nd, Gladiator 2, the sequel to the Academy Award-winning Gladiator, which starred Russell Crowe and was directed by Ridley Scott. Scott returns to the director's chair for this one, and it stars Paul Mescal. The story follows Lucius, the son of Maximus's love Lucia, after Maximus's death. All right, are you excited for this one? Gladiator came out in 2000. That was 24 years ago. Are people going to remember that movie? Do they want a sequel? We'll find out come November. On a lighter note, Disney's Moana 2 splashes into theaters on November 27th. After receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors, Moana journeys to the far seas of Oceania into the dangerous, long-lost waters for an adventure unlike she's ever faced. Moana came out in 2016 and did pretty well at the box office on an estimated budget of $150 million. It made $650 million worldwide. Were people clamoring for another Moana? I don't know, but Inside Out 2 was gangbusters at the box office this summer, and I'm sure Disney is hoping that this sequel will bring that kind of magic once again. On December 6th, this film is called Night Bitch. Interesting title. It stars Amy Adams as a woman who puts her career on pause to be a stay-at-home mom, and soon her domesticity takes a surreal turn. This one also stars Scoot McNairy, who is in Blood for Dust, which we covered earlier this year. Then, on December 13th, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. This is another animated feature featuring the voices of Brian Cox and Miranda Otto. You'll remember Miranda Otto, she played Éowyn in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is the untold story of Helm's Deep, hundreds of years before the fateful war. This film tells the life and blood-soaked times of the founder Helm Hammerhand, King of Rohan. Are there hardcore Lord of the Rings folks out there who were dying for another animated Lord of the Rings feature? We'll see. Then another offering from Disney, Mufasa, The Lion King, roars into theaters on December 20th. The original Lion King came out in 1994, 30 years ago. In this sequel, Simba, having become king of the Pride Lands, is determined for his cub to follow in his paw prints while the origins of his late father, Mufasa, are explored. This one looks like the Godfather 2 of Lion King films. Will this make $1 gajillion at the box office for Disney? We shall see. Then we're getting Dracula for Christmas with Nosferatu on December 25th. Robert Eggers' remake of the F.W. Murnau silent classic. This one stars Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok. Here's the story. A gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. This is basically the Dracula story. In 1922, F.W. Murnau couldn't get the rights to the book, so he just changed the names. It's a silent movie, but it's basically the Dracula novel. If you're a Dracula fan, definitely check out the original film from 1922 and check out Shadow of the Vampire, a rather unconventional story about the making of the original film, starring John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe as F.W. Murnau and Max Schreck, who was the actor who played Count Orlok. Will fans want to be scared this Christmas? We shall see. And that's all we got for you today. Thanks so much for taking this trip down the rabbit hole. For more of our content, including our movie reviews, visit our website, norestfortheweekendpodcast.com. You can subscribe on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube, youtube.com/getbehindtherabbit. I'd like to thank our guests, Gino McKoy and Eric Roberts. For Eric McClanahan and Behind the Rabbit Productions, I'm Jason Godbey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This is the BTRP Media Network.